Good afternoon and welcome along to Matchday live here on Fox's Hub as Leicester City face Wolverhampton Wanderers here at King Power Stadium. I'm Dan Bates, I've got Ewan Roberts and David Nugent alongside me. On the sofa we've got Jerry Taggart on co-commentary. We'll cross to him in around about half an hour's time for this massive game, the final one of course before Christmas. So a very Merry Christmas to everybody who is watching. It would be great, both of you guys, wouldn't it, if Leicester can get all 3 points. That would be the perfect present, wouldn't it?
You've said it, Dan. It's a massive game. We saw Ipswich lose yesterday, a win today, and carry on the good form that the lads have showed in their last two games here at the King Power. 4 points from the West Ham and the Brighton game. If they can carry that on with a good performance and 3 points, then you look at the gap between themselves and Ipswich, and between Leicester and Wolves. I think that'd be 8 points difference between Leicester and Wolves. There's a little bit of daylight then.
Mm. Yeah, we're just hoping Newcastle was a little bit of a blip as well, don't we?
Yeah.
Obviously, the home form on the road's been pretty well, a win and a draw. So home form's massive in this league. If you can gain them points at home, gives you a starting point to go up the table as well.
I think these are the games that you sort of have to win against those teams in and around you, which you're going to be sort of battling with to stay in the Premier League. Yeah, Newcastle away, it wasn't good. They're a little bit hit and miss at the minute. I think they scored 4 Portman Road yesterday. So they're coming into a bit of form. You've got to put that to one side. Learn from the mistakes that happened last Saturday. Move on and fully focus on this game today now.
Yeah, and just finally, before we do team news, on a non-football related one, obviously Merry Christmas to the both of you. As players, I guess you probably never really got to enjoy it, always with that Boxing Day game looming. You were probably training most Christmas days, were you?
Yep.
So now that you're both retired, obviously, is it a different time of year for you? Do you enjoy it a lot more?
You can enjoy it with your family more, I think, but on the other side, like drinking and stuff, because I've got used to it over the years. I'm not drinking on Christmas Day.
Disciplined, Dan. With discipline.
We're very disciplined. We're athletes still, you know what I mean? We're athletes.
But it was your job. You didn't know anything different really from the age of 17, 18. It wasn't something that you sort of celebrated. Yeah, you enjoyed the time with your family, but as you said, you were either in Christmas morning or in Christmas night before you travelled if you were playing away from home. So it was part and parcel of being a professional footballer.
I've spent Christmas in hotels.
Yeah.
So to us, it's just a norm, isn't it? You just get used to it.
Well, I don't know who you're kidding. You'll be on the Baileys at 9 in the morning, come Christmas morning in a couple of days. Right, let's get all of today's team news, starting, of course, with Leicester City. Ruud van Nistelrooy, off the back of that disappointing defeat to Newcastle a week ago, has decided to make 3 changes to that team. Of course, the big one in goal is enforced, of course. Manson came off at half-time, didn't he, in that game at St James's Park. Danny Ward has come in. Also returning from suspension is Bouba Samare as well. So good to see him back in the fold as well after missing that game. This is the 11 then. It's Danny Ward in goal. Christensen, Vestergaard, Cody and Justin with Skip and Samare. The midfield 2. Mavididi and El Canouse support Jamie Vardy, with the third change being Jordan Ayew as well. A spot on the bench for Facundo Buenanotte. No spot on the bench though for Casey McAteer, who drops out from that defeat to Newcastle. The bench is Everson, Fass, Akoli, Winks, Decordova-Reid, Chowdhury, Daka, Thomas and that man, Facundo Buenanotte. From a Wolves point of view, it's all changed for them really, of course, this week. A change in manager is the big news. Gary O'Neill is no more. Vitor Pereira has come in. He's got a bit of a mixed history in the game, managing in a number of different countries, never, of course, in the Premier League. This is how he lines up. It's a back 5, back 3 certainly. They've got Sarr in goal, Totti, Bueno and Semedo, we think, will be the 3 central defenders. Doherty and Gomez as the wing backs. Another Gomez and Andre in midfield. Cunha, Guedes this time, thankfully not a third Gomez, supporting Strand Larsen up front. So big changes for Wolves. We'll come on to those a little bit later, particularly in the managerial department there. A busy week for them, having conceded in the last minute to lose at home to Ipswich a week ago. We're concentrating though on Leicester. What catches your eye in Leicester's team news? I think the obvious is in goal, isn't it? It's a shame to see Mads Hermansen missing out through injury.
We spoke about it briefly before we started the show, Dan, and obviously he's hurt his groin in the Newcastle game. He's not quite right. If it was a cup final, he probably could have played. But what you don't want is him missing. You don't mind him missing one game, but if he'd have played today and hurt it even more, it would have kept him out for a lengthy period. He then goes and misses maybe 4 or 5 games in such an important time of the season. So it's the right thing to do. Give him a few more days rest, and hopefully he'll be ready to go come Boxing Day.
I'm thinking Buonanotte is the one for me as well. How he doesn't play. I think in the games that we've seen at home, he's been the one who steals the show kind of thing. You know, he's good on the ball. His work rate is unbelievable as well. He works hard for the team, and you know, for me personally, I would have put him in for Jordan Ayew, but I'm not the manager. Ruud van Nistelrooy is.
Yeah, and you look at that home record. Bilal El Khanous is in there, probably in that Buonanotte position, like you said. Buonanotte could potentially play on the right, as could El Khanous, who was really impressive in that first game in charge for Ruud against West Ham. Then, of course, against Brighton, Buonanotte couldn't play, having been, not cup tied, but couldn't play against his parent club, of course. So maybe that's played into it a little bit. El Khanous has impressed.
Yeah, potentially. You know, obviously, when you can't play against your parent club, you have to sit and watch. You know, El Khanous has come in, done well in the home games, hasn't he? So Ruud's sticking by him. But I just think Leicester play better when he's in the squad or in the team. I think everything just evolves around him, and he's really good on the ball. And once he's on the ball, I think the wingers know where he's going to play. I think he knows the wingers more than El Khanous at the minute.
I think if you look at the impact that Jordan Ayew has had in his first few months at the club, it's predominantly been when he's come off the bench. Probably hasn't impacted games as much when he started. And I do think out of the outfield players, I think that's the one that stands out, and I think that's the one that Leicester fans will be sort of scratching their heads at a little bit, why Buonanotte is on the bench and Jordan Ayew is starting instead of him. I do think if you had Buonanotte on that right, El Khanous, Mavididi, who came on against Brighton and really impacted the game, you've got 3 proper live wires there.
Yeah, we've got plenty more coming up here on Matchday Live as we build up to kick-off, which is, of course, at 2 o'clock this afternoon. Really nice, heartwarming piece. Jamie Vardy in the box reading a number of those festive messages that he was sent. He was sent so many letters, as you can imagine. He's read out a good selection of those. We'll hear from the manager, of course, Ruud van Nistelrooy, unbeaten still here at King Power Stadium. Let's hope that continues today, and we'll take a close look at that man and his new Wolves side. Quite inexperienced, certainly in English football, Vitor Pereira, but plenty of experience elsewhere in the game. We'll come on to that a little bit later on. I think defensively, particularly, we've seen that back four now, haven't we? Pretty much in Ruud's games, he seems set with that being his defence. Obviously, usually Mads being the number one will be behind them today. Danny Ward, that is a difference for a defence, having a different goalkeeper behind you to the one you've been used to.
Yeah, it is. It's a different voice. It's that familiarity that you want with a consistent sort of back five, including your goalkeeper. And I think that is one area of the pitch you don't want to make too many changes. I think inconsistency sort of defensively comes when you're chopping and changing and you don't know which your best four or best five as Wolves. I mean, look at Wolves. I think they've made 3 or 4 changes in their back five. They've been conceding goals for fun. I think they've conceded 12 in their last 4 games. So that's a massive weakness for them. But yeah, they've, on the whole, I think the back four as it is now have performed quite well. And the more they play with each other, the better they will become.
I think goalkeeper's the one position. That's why you have a number 1 and number 2, don't you?
Yeah.
Because number 1 is the best one. You know, obviously Danny Ward's, it's a great opportunity for Danny Ward to come in now and try and prove himself to be that goalkeeper. But when it's that one position where you think he doesn't play every single week, it's like one game in 37 weeks. You know what I mean? So he's got to be switched on that much to come in and concentrate that much, knowing that when Mads is coming back, he's going to come back in. So he's mentally, he could be all over the place as well. But what an opportunity as well for him.
And I think last year he went from sort of being number 4 goalkeeper. You know, Steve Cooper comes in, and I think Steve probably knew him from his days at Wrexham. He's made him number 2, so he's got a new lease of life really at the football club. And I've seen plenty of Danny when he's played for Wales. He's never let his country down, and you know, hopefully he can perform well today.
Hopefully so. Hopefully so. Right, let's concentrate again then quickly on the attacking part of the pitch before we hear from Jamie Vardy reading out those Christmas messages. But Steffi Mavididi has impressed from the bench, hasn't he, in those home games under Ruud? Obviously got that start at Newcastle. No one particularly impressed a week ago at St James's Park. That's fair. You can't put the blame on anyone there, but you want to see what Mavididi can bring you off the bench when he's exciting, isn't he? You need to see that from the start today.
I think you need these players at home. You know, these are match winners. When you play at home, you need Steffi to be on his game. You need Bards to be on his game. El Kanous to be on his game. These are the people that are going to win you the football match. Away from home is a bit different because you're a bit reserved. You don't want to attack as much. But at home, when you got your attacking players on the pitch, let them go and do the stuff. Let them go and win the games.
I think because of the way Wolves will set up as well, their width will come from their wing backs. They will be their wingers today, so they will bomb forward. But James Justin and Christensen, they will have to handle the runs that the wing backs will do. But hopefully then it will let Jordan Ayew and Steffi Mavididi have plenty of the ball and plenty of spaces to hopefully hurt them.
Yeah, I mean, did you as a former forward, did you enjoy playing at home more than playing away?
100%, yeah. You feel a bit more free at home. You know, you got a license to attack more, I think, at home. But like I'm saying with Steffi there, like if them full-backs do go forward, it's up to him to get in between because them centre-backs do not want to go out to the full-backs, do they? Into full-back positions. So Steffi can get in between the full or the wing-back and the centre-half and drag the centre-backs over. I think that you'll have a little joy down that wing.
I think because when you're away from home, you got the journey, you're staying in a hotel, a bed that you're not familiar with, you're not in your own surroundings. You go to your ground, you know where everything is. It's completely the opposite when you're away from home. Much prefer to play at home.
Yeah, absolutely, and scoring goals.
100%. Yeah.
Against Wolves,
yes,
which we might come on to a little bit later. Ewan, speaking of goals against Wolves, Jamie Vardy has plenty of those, doesn't he, down the years, both home and away. Another one of those reasons why, obviously, he is the main man here at Leicester, of course, the GOAT, as he's known. We've seen a lot of the Christmas messages, the fan mail that was sent into the players and the staff. Jamie Vardy got so many of them. Here he is reading a number of those out in the box, feeling very festive.
Never retire one day, just not yet. You inspire me to run after my dreams. Don't ever stop chasing those dreams. Evie, 4 years old. Evie, thank you for my fan mail. A great picture of you showing me scoring a goal. Hopefully there's many more to come. George, massive Leicester fan. Just wanted to wish you a Merry Christmas and I love watching you play. Keep scoring those goals and being the legend you are. Have an amazing Christmas. Thank you very much, George, and I hope you have a good Christmas too. Never retire. Ruby from Suffolk, thank you so much. Wish I couldn't retire, but unfortunately it will happen one day, just not yet. And you inspire me to run after my dreams. You're the Premier League's best striker. Connor, thank you. Don't ever stop chasing those dreams. Just keep working hard and who knows what can happen. Big fan and well done on your goals. Hope you win next game and every game. I love Leicester. Hope you have a great new year and Merry Christmas. Have a great time. Ruby, thank you so much. Hope you have a good Christmas too. And I'm loving the picture of the fox that you've drawn us. George, thank you so much. Fingers crossed. We will stay up. We know we've got the team that can. And obviously we just need to keep working hard to make sure that we're moving in the right direction. But I hope you have a good Christmas and a good New Year. That's just the letters for now. I just want to say thank you though, because there was hundreds that came through. Obviously couldn't get through them all at this moment in time, but we'll make sure that we do. Have a good Christmas and a Happy New Year.
That was Jamie Vardy there reading out all that fan mail, or as much of the fan mail as he could be. He had so much that he couldn't physically read all of it out. We probably couldn't have even fit it in the room there. But Fair play to him, and that will make the Christmas for every single one of those people that have written in to hear and to see him reading out their letters.
Yeah, he's an icon at this club, and he for many eras. For young kids, older kids, adults. He's been here that long that he's got a whole range of ages where they all agree that he's probably Leicester's best ever player. So it's a nice little moment. Coming up to Christmas, all the kids writing the fan mail. Vard's replying to them. There was a time at Leicester when Vard's almost left, but he chased his dreams. He didn't want to leave. He went into Shaky and Nige saying, I don't think I can do it. If it wasn't for Shaky and Nige, you probably wouldn't be here. So, he's still 11 years on.
I mean, the good times that Leicester have had in the last 10 seasons, he's been a massive part of it. His enthusiasm, his work rate, the goals that he scored, and he's still banging them away. 2 in his last 2 home games. Still quick, still got that hunger, still got that desire. He's 37 now. And you look at him, you look at the way he's sort of looked after himself, the way he manages his body, the way he prepares himself to get himself mentally and physically right for games. He could go on for another couple of years. I remember Ryan Giggs he played until he was 41. I think Jamie could do the same.
Especially having come to the Premier League late as well, whether that makes a difference.
Well, that's the thing. I think he was about 25, 26 when he turned
27 when he played in the Premier League.
Yeah, when he went to Fleetwood, I think he was 25. So his career started late as a professional footballer, and I think that's what's given him the longevity now. Is he didn't play professional football until he was 25. So normally, as me and Neil, we started when he was 17, 18. So 7 years before Jamie was 25, sort of thing.
Yeah, just say that. 25, 12 years as a professional, like in the professional game. So when you think it's not that long, really. Well, you're like 20 years, isn't it?
Yeah.
7, 8 years more. But you can see the way he looks. He looks after himself.
He doesn't get injured either, does he? He's sort of.
And he still looks hungry as
well.
Stays
fit.
Still hungry for more. He still loves scoring goals and winding up opposition fans. So long may he continue, as he said.
Very much hope he can do that today again against Wolves. The amount of times we've seen him do that is fantastic, and he's got that hunger, hasn't he? I think we thought last year could have been his last year. He then signed another deal. We don't know what might happen this year. As it stands, it's his last year, but hopefully, fingers crossed, 10 more years is the chant, isn't it? He'll love last season getting Leicester up. This season, keeping Leicester up, but it is a huge motivation for him. Hopefully, it'll be more than just that.
If Leicester are to stay up in the Premier League, Jamie Vardy is going to be massively important. He's going to have a big say.
Well, he already has been.
6 goals already in, and we spoke about it after the Brighton game. He has to be patient for long periods in the game. He won't get a touch. He's up there on his own. He's isolated. He doesn't get too many chances. It's not as if he gets 5, 6, 7 chances a game. He might get one, and he's got to be switched on when that chance comes. It might be in the second minute, like it was against West Ham, or the last minute. He's got to be ready to take it. He doesn't whinge, he doesn't moan, he doesn't get frustrated, he doesn't take his frustrations out on his teammates. He's an absolute joy. He just loves scoring goals.
Was that Palace goal? That was Mark Gahey. He ran past. That's England international, still playing week in, week out for England and Palace. Over 10 yards, mate. You ain't catching him. He's still so sharp after them 10 yards. And if the ball's right and you give him a chance, you keep on saying it, but he always puts the ball in the back of the net.
That finish against Brighton is so good, isn't it?
With his left foot.
Yeah.
I mean, he probably sees it late. Just comes over the Brighton defender. He could have taken it with his right, but he had the confidence to sort of let the ball run across his body, hit it on the half volley, get his technique absolutely spot on, and keep it down. Sort of just past it in the back.
Just being there, the right place, the right time. That took a deflection, that cross, but he's there.
Yeah.
If it didn't take a deflection, he doesn't score. But he just seems to be in the right place at the right time.
Which is key, isn't it? And you need that any team, I think, at any level of the game. I mean, Mateus Cunha is playing for Wolves today. There's most likely going to be a suspension or a ban for him coming. So it's not great that he is lining up against Leicester, of course, today, but that they've got their player like that. Leicester have got Jamie Vardy. You look across the Premier League, each team really has that focal point, don't they? And that is so important.
And I think Jamie knows his importance to the team. He knows that it's so important that he stays fit. I mean, how he's managed now over this Christmas period with so many games. You know, obviously he's starting today. Does that mean he might get rested for the trip to Liverpool on Boxing Day, and then he's brought back in for
he won't want
for
to.
Man City?
He won't want to,
I mean that's one. That's obviously a decision that he will sit down with Ruud van Nistelrooy and discuss, and they'll come to an eventual outcome.
I think he looks after himself
Yeah,
that much.
yeah.
Like today, Leicester could win 4-0. He could come off after 60 minutes, gets rested for half an hour, plays against Liverpool. But I think he's that important to the team and the way Leicester play that he has to play every single game for me. End of.
Yeah, because of those goals. That
I was
he's
just
done.
looking at his celebration.
Yeah,
there,
no, of course. But what is good again in that game that we just saw, his celebration against West Ham, Patson Daka came off the bench, impressed and scored as well. So having those options is vitally important.
Yeah,
as well.
and he had a tough time sort of last season, did Patson Daka, and in the club's last Premier League season. He missed some chances in some key games, lost his confidence. Obviously, he picked up an injury earlier this season, but he's come back and he's got a spring in his step. You know, he's got that beaming smile once again. He looks to be in a happy place, and he's a great option to have to come off the bench because, as we've said, his numbers at his previous clubs have been outstanding. We know he can score goals. You know, he did that in his first season at the football club, and he knew he was going to have to be patient because he's not going to be in the team before Jamie Vardy. But as I said, he's a great option to have, and if he carries on the work rate that he did against West Ham when he was chasing down, he was putting defenders under pressure, he was putting Fabianski under pressure. You know, that's what you want. That's the sort of impact you want off your players when they come off the bench.
And he's probably learned that, the harrying and chasing. He sees Jamie Vardy do it, doesn't he? And he thinks that is what you need to do, I guess, as a forward. You probably love doing that.
Yeah, well, that's part of my game. I used to love chasing defenders. Like I felt like if I didn't do it, then I wouldn't do my job properly. I know scoring goals is more important, but you're playing in a team.
Form of defence, aren't you?
It's a team game, and you need even if you're starting or come off the bench, you need to come on and work your socks off. Because if you don't, the manager will see it and think, oh, he's not going to try really hard, so you're not going to come on next game. You've got to give all you can, even if it's for 2 minutes or 70 minutes or 90 minutes. Go out there and give your all, and at least you can come off the pitch and go, oh, well, I'll try my best. Might not score, but I tried my best.
Yeah, one person you can definitely put your hat on for trying his best, Casey McAteer. We've heard from Ruud van Nistelrooy in the last half an hour or so. He's spoken to the media. He said that he picked up an injury in training, or he felt something in training. So that's the reason he's not in the squad, as we've seen him in each of his starting 11 so far, not in the squad today. That is why. Ayew is a different type of player, but he'll still work hard on that right-hand side.
Yeah, obviously Ayew's got to come in and be a player who's going to cause their defence problems. That's what he's in there for. You know, there's not much. If you look at our front line, he's probably the one you look at who's going to hold the ball up and bring people into play. Because if you look at Vard's going to be running the channels. El Khanous is not like very physically strong, is he? So he's the one who has to bring players into the game. He needs to get forward, he needs to run back, because Casey is a ball carrier. Casey gets you up the pitch. I think Ayew's a totally different player. He's going to have to try and work his socks off as you do for each game, and try and create chances, score chances. For the opposition players to think that they're in for a tough game.
Yeah, and these are important goals that he scored.
All off the bench as well.
I mean, the one at Southampton, last kick of the game, and a fantastic goal at Ipswich. Little give and go, and such a cool finish. I mean, I've seen plenty of him over the years. I said to you before, I saw plenty of him when he was at Swansea. He can score goals. It's not going to get you 15, 20 goals a season. Not many forwards do in this day and age. But as you say, he'll get important goals that will win you the odd point here and there. And his goals and his influence when he's come off the bench has been very, very good.
Absolutely. Right, speaking of goals scored in the Premier League, someone who definitely did get you 10 to 15 goals a season, if not a hell of a lot more, was Ruud van Nistelrooy, of course, during his playing days at all of the clubs that he played for, particularly Manchester United, of course, in the Premier League. He is now, though, in charge of the Foxes. Here he is speaking to the media ahead of this game with Wolves this weekend.
Well, even with a team that you're analyzing and you're preparing your team for an opponent to play in a certain way, sometimes then they come up with a new thing and a surprise where you have to during the game you have to analyze what's happening and react on it in the pitch, and also of course from the sidelines. So that can happen any game. So any game you prepare, you have to be prepared for the unexpected, that they will come up with some new bits against us, and that will also be the case on Sunday. But we'll prepare the team in a certain way, as I said, looking back on the coaches, on the managers' previous teams, and the current situation of Wolves, how they have been playing and with who. And in the game on Sunday, we have to be aware of changes.
You've already talked about how big a fixture this might be. If you win, you could go 8 points clear of Wolves. If you lose, it could be cut to just 2 points. Even at this stage of the season, that feels significant, being able to go 8 points ahead of a team like that. I wonder how you look at that ahead of the game this weekend.
Yeah, I think it's important to get a good focus in the game and focus on performing, focus on being prepared, and that's happening during the week. How do you prepare yourself, and how are you going to perform on Sunday? I think the players are buying in the game model, the way we want to play in the different phases of the game. We're getting more aligned in that. We had some good results and obviously a lesser result against Newcastle. So I think the focus is on preparing and performing, which gives us the best chance for a good result, instead of only looking at the results and if and what if and what if. That's not going to help you perform. I think the focus has to be on a team performance with spirit, with energy, that they're together in everybody's defending and everybody is attacking, and with great reactions when we lose and win the ball. I think that has to be the spirit of our team. We've been working on that. We've been seeing some very good bits, some disappointing bits so far, but it's a journey where we're on, and that's where we want to improve on. So rather than looking at the table and ifs, I would rather emphasize my players to be a winner every day, and think in the collective to bring the best performance for the fans on Sunday. I think that's the way I look at the fixture.
That is, of course, Ruud van Nistelrooy speaking ahead of this game with Wolves, particularly about the form, if you like. And I guess the general feeling after the West Ham Brighton home games back to back, the win and the draw was good, wasn't it? Everything felt positive. You then go and lose 4-0 away. How much of that can you literally park and move on from? How much do you dwell on that?
I think you've got to forget about it straight away. Just get out the system. Obviously, it wasn't the best before. 1-0 half time, 1-0 still in the game. Obviously, Mads comes off, and then all of a sudden you're 2, 3, 4-0 down. It's like, oh, didn't need this. But again, Ruud will just forget about that. I think it's just Wolves at home next game, concentrate on them, because this is a massive game now, because we've seen the fixtures after. I'm not going to mention the teams, but there's a 3 tough games coming up. But this home game now against Wolves, we don't know what to expect from Wolves. New manager, new formation, new players, new ideas. So this game is vital for Leicester to win today. Vital.
Yeah, you can't dwell on something that's happened over a week ago. You got to move on. Of course, you can sort of you'll speak about things. You'll discuss what you could have done better individually and as a team. But you've got to fully focus on your next game. I mean, Wolves have lost their last 4. I think they've lost 9 of their last 13 Premier League games. I heard it start yesterday. There's no team in the Premier League that's conceded more goals in 2024 than Wolves. So I do think
just jinxed it, you. And you've
they,
just
no,
jinxed it.
they, I mean, there's goals in them. You know, we've spoken about Cunha, the big boy up front. Stand, he's a handful. He's going to have to be looked after. But they concede for fun, and I think that's why I think it's a great opportunity for Leicester today.
It is indeed, and not just because of who you're playing, but then you look at the points gap with Ipswich losing, ironically 4-0 to Newcastle yesterday. You can go 5 clear of Ipswich and the bottom 3 with a win today. You go 8 clear of
that's 3 games nearly done
of today's opponents, Wolves, with a victory,
and better goal difference as well. So and as Dave just sort of alluded, when you look at the next 3 fixtures, and I know you can only focus on one, but when you've got Liverpool coming up, you've got Man City, even though they're having an absolute shocker at the minute, and then obviously Aston Villa, who had a great result yesterday against Man City. So 3 tough fixtures coming up. I think that's what makes this, for me, a must-win game.
Yeah. And that man in midfield, Oliver Skipp, there's a lot of attention on him, obviously, with the role that he's going to play alongside Bouba Samari in that midfield. You feel like the balance could be there between those two. Very different types of players, but you'll get a lot of energy from them.
Yeah, I like Skipp. You know, he's had a difficult time since he joined. You know, he obviously come through Tottenham, signed for big money at Leicester. You know, he's neat and tidy on the ball. Where Samara he's going to be the one who gets forward, trying to help the front four. He's going to try and back them up. So it's important to Skipp in that role. If Samara does go forward, then Skipp's going to have to cover the back four really with the other side of the ball, and Skipp's got to be there to sweep up. So they both got important roles. They both doing different roles in the team, and especially at home, I think Bouba's going to be massive. Getting forward to help the forward players.
I've been really impressed with Samari since he got back in the team. I think he came on against Nottingham Forest in the second half, and even though it was a bad night with the result, I thought his performance when he came on, he showed what he's capable of doing, and I think he's carried on that since he's been starting. I think the more he starts, the more games he plays, he's going to improve. He's got a physical presence about him. He's good upper body strength, good energy. A strong runner, which you want from midfield, and as Dave said, they will complement each other. He'll do Oliver Skipp, he will do the sort of nitty gritty, winning the ball back, keep things nice and simple. I think they could form a good partnership in that midfield area for Leicester.
Yeah, one person who I know has been impressed, particularly in recent weeks with Bouba Samari, is our co-commentator today, Jerry Taggart. Season's greetings, Merry Christmas to you. You're in position for us. We're just talking about the midfield duo there of Samari and Skipp and what they can offer Leicester. How do you see that today? Well, we can't hear Jerry yet. Hopefully we'll get him soon. You can hear he's trying. We'll maybe come back to Jerry when we've got him.
One job, Jerry, one job.
Yeah, we'll come back to Jerry a little bit later on then. But, really, in that too, of Skipp and Samari, as Ewan's rightly said, Nuge, they're very different types of players, but they'll do different roles. That's not to say that it's bad that they're different, because they can do different things. Yeah,
I think if you have two players that want to bomb forward, and the back four are going to be in for one hell of a hard game. I think Skipp's he's going to pro the back four. Tomorrow he's going to release himself, hopefully, and get forward. But then he's got to come back as well and help. You can't just leave Skipp on his own. There's going to be times in the game where we're under pressure, and both of them will have to sit in there and protect. But when we get a chance to go forward, when we see that space on a counter attack or running forward, I think Bouba's got to be that one who goes forward.
Especially today, because Wolves, we've spoken about the wing backs being their wingers, basically. So they sort of play with 2 number 10s just behind Strand Larsen. So that's what will make Oliver Skipp's role more importantly today, just sort of anchoring that midfield area.
Right, I think we've got him now. So let's try again, shall we? To cross over to Jerry. I'll say it again, Jerry. I'm sure you could hear us, but Merry Christmas to you.
Thank you.
Good to speak to you. How are you doing?
I'm good.
Yes,
I've just got a little point to pick with Dave Nugent there. Dave, do you know how to work these machines?
never been out there, mate.
Right. Okay. So zip it, sunshine. All right. Season's greetings, boys. We're all set, ready to go here. Fire away. Ask me something.
Yeah. We were talking about the midfield and obviously the role of those two. But I think probably more importantly for you, let's go to the defence. The same back four, we've seen that now, haven't we, really, under Ruud van Nistelrooy. He clearly likes particularly Cody and Vestergaard in there in central defence.
Yeah, I think with the first 2 games, when Ndidi and Samari were in there, in the midfield, the gaps between the back line and the midfield line were very, very narrow, very, very short, very, very tight. And then you go back to, then you fast forward to Newcastle last week. I was at the game. That didn't appear to be the case for whatever reason, with them two not in the midfield. So hopefully with Samari coming back, that will give a little bit more solidity in there and defensively without the ball, because at times Leicester got stretched. Well, I want to say at times for the majority of that second half, they were stretched, and Newcastle went on the rampage at times, scoring the 3 goals in the second half, of course. So today, especially, you've got to fear new manager bounce, which Wolves will have today. So they've got to look at this game, and they've got to be solid. And obviously that they're going to have to cause their own threats going forward, which we will see today, because Wolves concede goals as well.
Yeah, I was just about to bring that up, Jerry. 40 conceded in their 16 Premier League games. I don't know if they're still doing it now, but we just saw some shots on the screen of Wolves practicing set pieces, clearly defending them. They've conceded a ridiculous amount of goals from set pieces. So is that one thing you think the new manager's come in straight away, has thought, well, that needs fixing, and stopping conceding goals, that needs fixing?
Well, absolutely. You look at the two ends of the pitch, and you see where the weaknesses are the strengths in that matter. And obviously both teams have weaknesses defensively. So that's something that Pereira, the new manager, will come in and be looking at. And, I'm just looking out onto the pitch now, and Wolves are actually, as you rightly say, they're practicing defending set pieces. So for me, we know both teams will score goals. For me, this is about which team concedes the least. And Leicester being at home, the home form in the last couple of games at home has been good, and they've got to try and grab back that momentum, that confidence that they showed in the previous 2 home games.
Tags, we've spoken about, obviously, no Mads Hermansen in goal today with that groin injury. Danny Ward coming in. How difficult is it for the back four, especially 2 centre halves, when it's an unfamiliar voice sort of behind you?
Yeah, and it's in those pressure moments, especially, Ewan, when you're under pressure from the opposition, and you know exactly what one keeper's going to do behind you, and then you have another keeper coming in. He's obviously been sat on the bench for most of the season, Danny Ward. And in those pressure moments, how does he react? How does he react with his back four, with his 2 centre halves? And these are going to be the key elements in this game today. Danny Ward has got to make big decisions at the right time under pressure. And obviously Cody and Vestergaard have been used to having Mads Hermansen behind them. But today, obviously they had the second half last Saturday, but today they've got Danny Ward from the start. So we'll have to wait and see how that goes. But you've got to be positive with your decision making, even if you haven't been starting the season, or you've been sat on the bench for the majority of the season. You have to start with that positivity of, right, when you make a decision, be clear and be wholehearted when you make it. Don't make a decision and then go back on it. That's the worst thing a keeper can do.
Thank you very much, Jerry. We'll hear from you again in around about 20 minutes' time as we continue to build up to kick-off ahead of this final game before Christmas here at King Power Stadium. Massive one against Wolves. If you are only just joining us, we were talking there about Danny Ward being in goal. He's one of 3 changes made by Ruud van Nistelrooy today. Of course, Mads Hermansen misses out through injury, as does Casey McAteer on the right. Jordan Ayew has come in for him, and Bouba Soumaré returns from his suspension, having missed that Newcastle trip. Hamza Chowdhury dropping out from that game up at St James's Park. We normally sit here and heap praise on David Nugent, looking back at goals against teams that we're playing against, though today, Ewan.
I have scored against Wolves, though.
The pressure's on you.
Elliot,
yeah, but
any chance?
It's got to be Ewan today.
Yeah, give
Premier League goals against Wolves on debut as well. Ewan Roberts steps up and bangs a brilliant brace.
Looking on this far side for support, finds it. Gary Mills floats it far post. In comes Roberts. Oh! What a way to start with your new club, Ewan Roberts at the far post, bullet header. Stoll had no chance. Mills looks up for Roberts. Roberts is there, speedy with a header. Roberts comes in, everybody stands around, and that's the hallmark of a great striker. Ewan Roberts' second goal. Speedy should have scored, but Roberts made no mistake.
There you go, nice 2 goals on debut. I'm not going to bring it up, and I don't think we've got it either, Ewan, because it could easily have been a hat-trick.
Oh, an absolute sitter from 3 yards out. Great ball from the left-hand side from from Lee Philpott, and it's one of those news. As you see it coming, you think, scored.
Yeah. Got to be there to miss them, mate.
I mean, we were 2-0 down at half time. We got booed off.
About that.
It was we had the brand new Carling stand opened at Filbert Street, but the changing rooms weren't quite ready, so we were in porter cabins outside. I'd never scored on my debut before, but yeah, I look back and I should have gone home with a match ball.
But two's decent anyway. That first one, we'll see it again.
Some header,
I was lucky. I mean, Gary Mills, fantastic player. You know, Champions League winner with Forest. 2 great balls in. But yeah, the first one is probably one of the, considering majority of my goals.
Where were you playing? Left wing. You come from like deep, haven't you?
That's working hard, Dave. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So I gave myself a little bit of a space to run onto the ball, and it's a great ball in from Danny. You know, great from Danny from Gary, and yeah, probably one of the best headers that I'd scored, and in front of the cop as well.
Yeah, it doesn't get much better.
No,
than
it
that,
doesn't. No, it doesn't.
Right, we're definitely not going to look at your goals against Wolves. We don't want to. We've got to impress.
Mine was in the Championship anyway, so.
Right, from a Wolves point of view, we'll hear about their new manager in just a moment. They've obviously got a big man up front, haven't they? In Strand Larsen, Ewan. They've got Cunha supporting him. I guess, as we've alluded to, there's probably going to be a ban coming for Cunha. It's not happened before today. So Strand Larsen, there might be a lot of emphasis on him. Have you seen much of him? Has he impressed you? Will he be a handful?
He's a handful. His work ethic is excellent. He'll put defenders under pressure. He's 6'4". He's a big presence. He's good with his back to goal. I mean, he's had a great start to life at Molineux. I think he's got 6 goals already this season. Him and Cunha, they've clicked straight away, which sort of happens sometimes with centre forwards. You and
David Speedy.
Straight away. It's strange. You sort of play off the cuff, and it's completely opposite to 2 centre halves. But yeah, he's a handful. He's strong. He'll use his upper body strength, and Connor and Yannick Vestergaard are going to have to be at their best to sort of handle him today.
40 goals conceded, as we've mentioned, for Wolves is a lot, isn't it? In 16 games, an awful lot. That's averaging well over 2 goals conceded in every game. They play a lot from set pieces as well. That's probably a key message from Ruud van Nistelrooy today: is get at them.
Well, we've just seen a clip, haven't we, of Wolves defending corners
in zone marking
training. So obviously the managers come in straight away and seen this is a problem, so we're going to work on that. You've seen it in the warm up, So they do concede goals from set plays, open play. They did play from the back. We could see a totally different Wolves team. So we haven't got a clue what we're going to watch, but that 40 goals, it's a lot of goals. It's like over 2 goals a game. Our strikers should be rubbing their hands together here, playing against this back 5.
Well, let's hear from the new manager then of Wolves. He was appointed on, I think it was Thursday afternoon. He spoke to the press on Friday as well. He was asked why he's chosen Wolves and why he's chosen the Premier League.
Because it's Premier League, and in my opinion, the Premier League is the best league in the world. Something that was my target since long time. It means that I'm in the right place with the top height-level players, with a league with height-level players, height-level managers, height-level organization. And I'm very happy to be here.
Well, that is Vitor Pereira then, who has come in as the new manager of Wolves, faces his first test today away at Leicester. Of course, let's get a little bit more information about Vitor Pereira then from Liam Keane from the Express and Star. He tells us all about the history of the new Wolves manager.
Yeah, Vitor Pereira arrives at the club with having experienced probably a tough few years. He had a fantastic start to his career at Porto, won a couple of league titles, and had a bit of a mixed career since, really, going to the likes of China, Greece, Saudi Arabia, Turkey. He comes from another Saudi Arabia club now with the, I suppose, reputation of being a little bit fiery as an individual. So it'd be interesting to see how press conferences and future games go with him. He comes with the reputation of being, at some clubs, expansive, at other clubs, defensively minded. That's going to be a big part of how he finds success with Wolves, is fixing that defence. And I think the Wolves fans are ready to give him a chance, put it that way. It's definitely a risk. I think the club are aware, but they had to take a risk at this stage. And fans will be apprehensive, but willing to give him an opportunity and a chance to turn it around. And Wolves fans are the kind of supporters that are passionate and will be desperate for anyone to do well. And if they can harness a little bit of that energy, a little bit of togetherness, bring them in, Wolves fans will go quickly with someone. And if results follow, then they've got no reason but to cheer them on.
Thank you there to Liam Keane from the Express and Star for that bit of a history on the new manager, who is obviously very inexperienced in England, which hopefully today we see that inexperience, and it might take him a little bit of time. Hopefully it does take him a bit of time from a Leicester point of view, of course, but it's a tough first test because it's against a team that are really with them in the league.
And I think if you look at the impact that Ruud had in his first game for Leicester, but we were at home, they're away from home, which I think does make things harder for him. I think they've got one win in their last 14 away games. They've lost 9 of those 14. So this is a side that doesn't travel too well. And there's only so much you can, I think it's only been
2 days
in the job a couple of days. So there's only so much you can do. There's only so much sort of information and things that he can throw at the players. I don't think we'll see a massive, drastic change in the Wolves' performance today. I mean, let's hope that Leicester can reproduce the West Ham game, the Brighton game, the belief and the spirit and the togetherness to come back from 2 goals down and hopefully go and grab all 3 points.
Yeah, hopefully so. Kuntop is in attendance here at King Power Stadium as well today. The final game, of course, before Christmas. We can concentrate on Leicester now. Obviously, Nuge, against a side with a new manager, you almost say, right, irrelevant, doesn't matter to us. Yeah. We're going to go out, we're going to play our own game against a team that concede a lot of goals. Let's try and attack them, get at them.
I'm not going to say all-out attack, but they're there to be, get at. They're struggling to concede a lot of goals. We've got players that can hurt them in wide areas, and obviously, as a striker, and Jamie Vardy, if you give him a chance, he's going to score a goal. These give a lot of chances away. It's a massive opportunity to, go 8 points clear of the drop zone. It's hard enough winning one game. Never mind. Obviously, the next 3 games are tough. There'll be a 3-game swing then. Yeah. To someone to overtake us in the relegation zone. It's hard enough winning one. Never mind 3 on the bounce. So it's a great incentive to go out there. Put Wolves to the sword, get 3 points, and get clear of that relegation zone.
And if you think then 3 points today, that means 7 points from your last 3 home games, getting that little bit of momentum, bit of confidence before the busy Christmas period.
It's the home form that's going to keep you up.
Yeah, and we've seen in those 2 home games under Ruud van Nistelrooy, you get a win and a draw. That's what you need, isn't it?
Exactly.
That's what you need. So hopefully it continues today. And finally, give those supporters here a Christmas present that'll mean more than pretty much any of the gifts that they get on Wednesday, of course, because
you can have a stress-free Christmas, can't they?
Your turkey.
No pressure, Leicester, but
thinking all about Jamie Vardy's next goal against Wolves, which hopefully will come today. Right, it is indeed now time to hand you over to our commentary team for this afternoon. We've already heard from Jerry. He's alongside Niall McCorn today to talk us through what will hopefully be another good home game in charge for Ruud van Nistelrooy as the Foxes take on Wolves. We've got full commentary coming up next here on Foxes Hub.